My dear brothers and sisters, there are nights when your heart feels too heavy to carry, nights when tears fall silently and you ask yourself, Ya Allah, why me? Why did this happen? You trusted, you loved, you gave your sincerity, and yet you were hurt. But what if I told you this pain is not meaningless? What if your heartbreak is not the end of your story, but the beginning of something greater, something written by Allah Himself? Allah does not waste your pain, He transforms it. Let me remind you of 5 powerful truths you must hold on to. There are moments in life when the pain feels so personal, so sharp, that you begin to question everything. You wonder if this is a punishment, if you did something wrong, if somehow you are being singled out for hardship. Your heart whispers doubts and your mind replays the hurt over and over again. But what you are feeling, as heavy as it is not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. In reality, it is often a sign that Allah has abandoned you. In reality, it is often a sign that Allah is preparing you. Preparation is not something we naturally recognize when we are in the middle of pain. When you are being shaped, it does not feel like growth, it feels like breaking. When your plans fall apart, it does not feel like divine wisdom, it feels like loss. But this is because we only see the present moment while Allah sees the entire picture. He sees where you are going, who you are becoming, and what you will need to carry the blessings He has already written for you. Think about it. If Allah were to give you everything you wanted right now in your current state, would you truly be ready for it? Would you be strong enough, patient enough, or wise enough to handle it without losing yourself? Sometimes the answer is no. And out of His mercy, Allah does not rush the khair into your life. Instead, He prepares you for it. That preparation often comes in the form of hardship. It comes through moments that stretch your patience, situations that test your iman, and experiences that test your iman, and experiences that force you to grow in ways you never expected. You begin to develop strength you didn't know you had. You learn to rely on Allah instead of people. You start to understand that your worth is not defined by who stays or who leaves, but by your connection with your Creator. Every tear you cried was seen. Every silent dua you made in the darkness of the night was heard. Even when you felt alone, you were never abandoned. Allah was there, shaping your qalib, strengthening your ruha, and teaching you lessons that comfort could never teach. There is a wisdom in being delayed, dear. There is a wisdom in being delayed. There is a purpose in being tested. And there is a hidden mercy in being broken. Because sometimes the only way Allah can elevate you is by first emptying your hands and your heart from what is not meant for you. He removes distractions. He removes attachments. He removes illusions. And yes, it hurts. But it also makes space. Space for something better. Space for something better. Space for something better. Space for something that aligns with the person you are becoming. You may not understand it now. In fact, you probably don't. The pain is too fresh, the wound too deep. But one day, when you look back, you will see it differently. You will realize that what felt like an ending was actually a beginning. That what felt like an ending was actually a beginning. That what felt like rejection was actually protection. That what felt like loss was actually preparation. And in that moment, your heart will find peace. Not because the pain didn't matter, but because you will finally understand that it had a purpose all along. So hold on. Even if your hands are trembling, even if your heart feels weak, hold on to the belief that Allah knows exactly what He is doing. Trust that He is not breaking you to destroy you, but to rebuild you into someone stronger, someone closer to Him, someone ready for the blessings that are coming. Because you are not being punished, you are being prepared. There are moments in life when something is taken away from you so suddenly, so painfully, that it feels like a part of your soul has been ripped out. A person you loved, a relationship you invested in, an opportunity you prayed for, it disappears and you are left standing there, confused and broken, asking, why would Allah take this away from me when I wanted it so much? What makes it even harder is that you may have seen goodness in it, you believed it was right for you, you imagined the future around it, and when it's gone, it feels like everything you built inside your heart collapses all at once. But what you see as loss, Allah sees as protection. This is one of the most difficult truths to accept because it requires you to trust beyond your emotions. It requires you to believe that Allah knows something you don't, that He sees consequences you cannot see, and that His wisdom is greater than your understanding. Sometimes we become attached to things that appear beautiful on the surface, but carry harm deep within. Yes, A person may seem perfect to you, but they could have led you away from your values, your peace, or even your relationship with Allah. An opportunity may look like najah, but it might have come with consequences that would slowly break you from the inside. Allah, in His infinite knowledge and mercy, removes it not to hurt you, but to save you. Imagine holding on to something tightly, believing it is your happiness, while Allah knows it is your imtihan. You see comfort, but He sees destruction. You see love, but He sees long-term pain. And because He cares for you more than you care for yourself, He takes it away, even when it causes your heart to ache. This kind of removal is not rejection. It is rahmat in disguise. There is a powerful reality we often forget. Allah can see the unseen. He knows what would have happened if that person stayed. He knows the arguments, the tears, the distance from deen, the emptiness that might have followed. He knows the doors that would have closed because you were holding on to something that was never meant to remain. So He intervenes. He redirects your path. And yes, sometimes that redirection comes in the form of heartbreak. But heartbreak is not always a sign that you lost something valuable. Sometimes it is a sign that you were saved from something harmful. Right now, you may not feel that. Right now, it feels like you lost something irreplaceable. But time has a way of revealing what emotions cannot understand in the moment. There will come a day when you will look back not with pain, but with clarity. You will see things you were blind to. You will recognize patterns, behaviors, or outcomes that you ignored before. And in that moment, your heart will whisper, Assalamu alaikum, Allah knew. You will realize that if that person had stayed, you might have lost your peace. If that opportunity had worked out, you might have lost your direction. If that situation had continued, you might have lost yourself. And suddenly, what once felt like a wound will start to feel like protection. So instead of asking, why did Allah take this away? Try to shift your kalbim and ask, what did Allah save me from? Even if you don't have the answer right now, trust that there is one. Trust that behind every removal is a wisdom you may not yet see. Allah does not take without giving. He does not close a door except that He knows another one will open. And sometimes the greatest gift He gives you is not what He places in your life, but what He removes from it. So hold on to that trust even when it hurts, because one day your qalban will understand what your pain cannot explain today. There is something about pain that changes the way you turn to Allah. When life is smooth, when everything is going the way you planned, it is easy to become distracted. Your dua becomes shorter, your connection feels lighter, and sometimes without even realizing it, your dependence shifts from Allah to the things and people around you. You begin to feel a sense of control, as if you are managing your life on your own. But then something breaks, something shakes your can, leaps so deeply that everything else loses its meaning. And in that moment of helplessness, you turn back to Allah in a way you never did before. When your heart is broken, your dua is different. It is no longer routine or rushed. It comes from a place of desperation, sincerity, and raw honesty. You raise your hands, not because you have to, but because you have nowhere else to go. Your kalimat may be simple, but they carry a depth that only pain can create. And that is where something beautiful begins to happen. Your relationship with Allah becomes real. Pain strips away distractions. It removes the illusion that people can fulfill you completely. It teaches you, sometimes in the hardest way, that no human being can carry the weight of your qalbam except the one who created it. The person you trusted may have left. The situation you relied on may have collapsed. But in that emptiness, you start to realize that Allah was always there waiting for you to return, not because He needs you, but because you need Him. There is a kind of closeness to Allah that cannot be achieved through comfort alone. It is built in the quiet moments of the night when you sit alone with your thoughts and whisper your pain to Him. It is built when tears fall, not in front of people, but in sujood. It is built when you feel like you cannot go on, but you still say, Ya Allah, give me strength. These are the moments that soften your heart and bring you closer to your Creator in a way nothing else can. Sometimes Allah takes away people not because they are bad, but because your heart was becoming too attached to them. Your reliance was shifting, your obedience was being placed in creation instead of the Creator. And out of His love for you, Allah redirects the attachment back to Him. He reminds you that He is the only one who is constant, the only one who is constant, the only one who understands is every silent feeling inside you. And when you begin to reconnect with Allah through your pain, something starts to change within you. The hurt may still be there, but it no longer feels empty. It begins to carry meaning. You start to feel a strange sense of peace, even in your sadness, because you know you are not alone. You know that every tear is seen, every sigh is heard, and every moment of patience is being rewarded. Your broken heart becomes a tariq back to Allah. It becomes a means of purification, a way for your sins to be forgiven, and a path toward a deeper, more sincere iman. You begin to understand that maybe this pain was not meant to destroy you, but to guide you, to bring you back to the one who loves you more than anyone else ever could. And one day you will look back and realize that in your darkest moments, when you thought you were losing everything, you were actually gaining something far greater. You were gaining closeness to Allah, and that is a treasure that no loss can ever replace. One of the hardest things for the human heart is to let go of what it once held so tightly. You replay the memories, the conversations, the hopes you built, and you find yourself stuck between what was and what you wished it could have been. It feels like nothing could ever replace it. It feels like what you lost was everything. And in that moment, your vision becomes limited to your pain. You cannot see beyond it. You cannot imagine that something better could exist. But that is exactly where your test lies, in trusting that what Allah has written for you is far greater than what you're grieving over. We often measure our loss based on our emotions, not on reality. Something feels big because it meant a lot to us, because we invested our qalbim into it. But Allah's plans are not based on how deeply you felt something. They are based on His infinite knowledge, His wisdom and His mercy. What you lost may have felt like the best thing for you, but Allah, who knows the unseen, knows what is truly best. And when He takes something away, it is never to leave you empty forever. It is to make room for something better. But better does not always come immediately. This is where many hearts struggle. You expect that if Allah removed something, the replacement should come quickly. You expect healing to be instant, answers to be clear, and happiness to return right away. But Allah's timing is not rushed. There is a process. There is a period where you are meant to sit with your emotions, to grow, to reflect, and to transform. Because if the better thing came too soon, you might not recognize its value, or worse, you might not be ready to receive it. In this waiting, your trust is being tested, not when everything makes sense, but when nothing does. Not when you feel strong, but when you feel weak. This is where true tawakkul is built. When you choose to believe that Allah is preparing something greater, even when you cannot see a single sign of it yet. And what Allah prepares is always beyond your imagination. Sometimes it is a person who treats you with a level of kindness and respect you never knew existed. Sometimes it is a foresight that aligns perfectly with your purpose. Sometimes it is a kind of peace in your qalb that you never experienced before. Sometimes it is a kind of peace in your qalb, and sometimes it is something completely unexpected, something you never even thought to ask for. But when it arrives, you realize it is exactly what you needed. Allah does not replace in equal measure. He replaces in ways that reflect His generosity. What you lost was limited. What He can give is limitless. But the shart is patience. The shart is trust. You have to let go of the madi without constantly comparing it to your future. You have to stop looking back and start believing that what is ahead holds more hair than what is ahead holds more hair than what is behind. Right now, your heart may still be attached to what you lost. That is natural. Healing is not instant. But do not let that attachment blind you from what Allah is preparing. Do not close your heart to new beginnings because you are still grieving an ending. Because the risk is not just that you remain in pain, but that you might miss the very blessing you once prayed for. Because one day, without even realizing when it happened, you will feel different. The pain will not have the same weight. The memories will not have the same hold. And something new will enter your life, quietly, gently, but powerfully, gently, but powerfully, gently, but powerfully. And in that moment, you will understand, you will see that Allah did not just take something away. He was making space for something better all along. And you will say it not just with your tongue, but with full conviction in your heart. Ya Allah, You truly knew what I did not. There are moments when the pain feels so final, so overwhelming that it convinces you nothing good can come after it. It feels like a closing chapter that has no continuation, like a door that has shut and taken all your embed with it. You sit with your thoughts, replay what happened, and everything inside you whispers, this is it, this is how my story ends. But that feeling, as real as it seems, is not the truth. It is only a moment in time, not a conclusion of your life. One of the most important things you need to understand is that your story is still being written. You are living in a chapter, not the entire book. And when you are inside the painful chapter, it is almost impossible to imagine what the next pages will hold. You judge the entire story based on what you feel right now, without realizing that Allah, the best of planners, has already written what comes next, and it is filled with wisdom, growth, and khair that you cannot yet see. When something painful happens, it narrows your perspective. It makes you focus only on what you lost, only on what went wrong, only on what hurt you. But life is not defined by a single moment. It is a journey of many moments, many turns, many unexpected chan. Guess, and just because today feels heavy does not mean tomorrow will carry the same weight. Allah has a way of bringing ease in ways you never expect. Not always immediate, in ways you never expect. Not always immediately, not always in a way that is best for you. Sometimes the change is slow, almost unnoticeable. A day passes where you don't think about it as much. A moment comes where you smile without forcing it. A small forsota appears that shifts your focus, and little by little, without you even realizing it, your heart begins to heal. Healing is not about forgetting. It is about growing beyond the pain. It is about reaching a point where what once broke you no longer defines you. And that transformation does not happen overnight. It happens through patience, through reflection, and through trusting Allah, even when you do not understand His plan. And through trusting Allah, even when you do not understand His plan. There are blessings ahead of you that have not yet arrived. There are people you have not yet met who will bring light into your life. There are experiences waiting for you that will make sense of everything you went through, but you cannot see them right now because you are still standing in the middle of your pain. It is like being in a dark tunnel. You cannot see the light at the end, but that does not mean it is not there. Allah is guiding your steps even when you feel lost. He is opening doors even when you feel stuck. He is arranging things behind the scenes in ways you cannot imagine. And one day everything will come together in a way that makes you to walk off and reflect. You will connect the dots. You will understand why certain things had to end, why certain people had to leave, why certain plans had to fail. Certain plans had to fail. And in that moment, your perspective will completely change. You will no longer see your past as a series of painful al-hadath, but as a journey that led you exactly where you needed to be. And you will realize that what you once thought was the nihayat was actually a budayat. So do not let this moment define your entire story. Do not close the book when Allah is still writing it. Trust that there are pages ahead filled with mercy, filled with growth, and filled with blessings that will make you forget the shaddat of what you once felt, because your story is not over, not even close. This is just one chapter, and what comes next may be more beautiful than anything you have left behind.